Get 'em.
Welcome, folks. Y'all come on in and make yourself at home. This here, well, this is the Rolling Thunder Podcast, your home for all things Rolling Thunder. This episode is brought to you by Mossy Oak, because everything is better in Bottomland. Kent Cartridge, quality matters, performance counts. Shen Gear, waterfowl gear that is built better. And Benelli USA, dominate the skies.
Well, welcome back to another episode of the Rolling Thunder Podcast.
Hey, buddy.
What's up?
Not too much.
Not too much. Nothing
that.
at all. I know, I just repeated you. We got an echo in here. Today, we got a little round table going on. A few things to talk about. We got Riley Bennett.
Howdy.
In the house. Trip Hodges in the house.
What's going on, guys?
Big bad boss man Spence Halford.
Hey.
And your host, William Frawley. What's new? Both of y'all. I feel like I ain't seen both of y'all in a while in the shop.
We're back at the shop.
Yeah.
That's new.
I know. Everybody ate lunch together yesterday, or most every.
Yeah.
Well,
we had a small community.
4/7.
I ate
Is
lunch
that a
by
number?
myself.
4/7. You had people that ate lunch with you.
We ate on the front
I
porch.
ate by myself,
Yeah,
but
who's
they
ate?
came back with and sat there while I sat there. Yeah.
He was upset.
It was a lot like, spring turkeys. The flocks are starting to intersperse.
That is true.
It's, duck season's over. Shop life is starting to get back to normal. And like two things are about to happen. People are going to start eating lunch together, and people are going to start playing golf here pretty soon.
That's right. Oh, God, golf.
Somebody hit the driving range yesterday.
I did.
Did you?
I did.
After
I did.
work? Put
I
in
did.
some.
I did.
Got some
Straight
reps
to the
in?
driving range, yep.
Heard that.
So, yeah.
From Bennett, this is my season.
Yeah, this is my summer. I'm excited
I'm pretty jacked for
for the golf
and turkeys.
scramble and foxhole and everything else, yeah.
Yesterday was my first day sitting on the front porch after work. My mom called me. She's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "Oh, I'm just sitting here on the front porch at work." She's like, "At work?" I was like, "Yeah, got a good sunset going on, just hanging out with Frawley."
Yeah, Trip and I hung out there for about 30 minutes
Y'all
after.
y'all
we
came
left.
back up here?
No. We didn't leave till 5:45. 6 o'clock.
Y'all just set up there for a while.
Yep.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's my favorite Sunday afternoon spot. It's quiet.
So
On
relaxing.
Highway 64 on Sunday afternoon. I've sat out there a bunch and just watched traffic go by. It's nice.
It's nice to slow down a little bit.
It is. And everything's so slow right now. I mean, we've been back for 2 days and we're leaving in the morning at 4 a.m. We hadn't even started loading the trailer. So it's just such a relaxed pace around here.
Yeah, Gerke hit me with the other day. He goes, "Man, I'm not sure if I caught up on sleep from Pennsylvania yet." I said, "Bud, it's not going to happen." So
I feel like I haven't caught up on my sleep from opening weekend like 7 years ago.
Yeah, catch up on sleep about June, something like that, maybe.
Speaking of catching up on sleep, what about the Turkey Federation we just got back from?
Boy,
Nashville.
awesome.
I feel like my candle has been burned on both ends.
Yeah.
Down to nothingness.
That was
Unreal.
It was crazy, y'all. I mean, I haven't been to many of the NWTFs, but that one was unreal. Thursday's traffic was, it
Insane.
felt like a Saturday.
Yeah, it really did. And I was talking to Josh yesterday morning, and a buddy of his who's high up at NWTF gave him the gate attendance. Have y'all heard this number yet? So last year set the record. It was like right around 50,000, 51, 72,000 people this year. That is not vendors. That is people who paid to come through the gate, registered gate attendants, unique people. So
Do not doubt that for a second.
And
Not at all.
I feel like I've
Thursday
seen
was
every
crazy.
single one of them at the booth.
I know. We did. I mean, we did. Thursday was crazy. Friday was crazier. And I said at the end of the day on Friday, by like 3 or 4 o'clock on Friday afternoon, I was like, there's absolutely no way that Saturday can be busier. And by gosh, it was.
Crazy.
I mean,
Yeah.
before lunch on Saturday was insane. And then it just kept on and kept on. And I mean, I was all peopled out by Saturday evening.
I think at the number that I heard was by Friday afternoon, about 2 or 3 o'clock is when they met the attendance.
I
from
heard the
last
same
year.
thing. Yeah.
And I would confidently say 20,000 people
Yeah.
came.
And, you know,
I mean, obviously do the math, but
along those lines, I will just say for people that are listening who've never been, everybody that I saw and that I interacted with customer-wise was having an absolute blast.
yes.
Wouldn't y'all agree?
Absolutely.
I mean, husbands and wives or, couples that came, some had kids, some didn't, but everybody that's at that show has a good time. There's so much to see, so much to do, and like if, nobody's got giant plans second and third weekend in February except for Valentine's Day, but I mean, if you're on the fence and you're like, man, I'd really like to go, but I'm afraid of the crowd and blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, there's a little bit of traffic getting in there, but it is an absolute blast.
The crowd is part of it. I think it's part of the
it
experience.
is.
It's unbelievable. It's like the beach on spring break. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of people, but it's fun.
Well, the coolest thing to me about NWTF is just who's there. I mean, everybody who you've ever looked up to or thought was cool or whatever wanted to have a chance to talk to, you can. Like, they're there. And whenever everybody was in line getting ready for the Fox Fest, we were sitting there at a mad dash getting our Fox pots trying to get them on the shelf.
No kidding. I mean, I thought we had we got set up in like 2 hours on Thursday. So we spent on Wednesday. So we spent all day on Wednesday just cutting up and goofing off because like we were ready to go. And I told Derek I thought we'd finally outgrown that, like showing up to trade shows without calls tuned. And we had 400 duck calls, all tuned, ready to go, plenty of turkey calls, apparel out the yin-yang. We had everything together. And then 5 minutes before the show started on Thursday morning, we're trying to assemble Fox pots.
We were leaving the Airbnb, and Russ called us and goes, hey, there's some bins at the Airbnb with the Fox pots. We're like, what? We had no clue they were there. We get in the garage, and sure enough, all the Fox pots are there. We're like,
so the backstory, the backstory is that we built all these Mr. Fox limited edition pots, and Mossy Oak gave us about a 2-week heads up that they were going to, wanted to do as many of these calls to match the vest as possible, which is awesome. We're flattered. Yep. So we started from scratch, went to the barn, had a giant bundle of walnut that we bought from just down the road in Grand Junction from D&T Sawmill. So Aaron and Spike, I guess, during that snow break, right there at the 1st of February, started playing in lumber, and Russ started milling pots, and Tripp and Riley and me and Russ and everybody else started sanding, and we built these pots. Well, like the day before we were leaving, Aaron was still gluing them up, and of course we designed a decal, and we got all that, like all the little pieces just kind of fell in place. But when we all left on Tuesday afternoon, we still had glue drying on a whole bunch of those pots. And it needs to sit there and cure and all that. So we started doing the math on where we were going to put them. And typically when we package a pot call, we put 4 in this box. That's, I don't know, it's a maybe 12 by 5 by 8, something like that. And so, I mean, it's not quite the size of a piece of notebook paper. It's a little smaller than that, but you only get 4 in one of those boxes. Well, we were bringing 400 pot calls, which means you need 100 of those boxes, which is we started doing the math, and that's a full pallet full of them interpacked and master packed. And so then we got to thinking about where we're going to put it in the booth, and it occurred to all of us kind of at the same time that we didn't have enough space in the trailer or on a truck to bring them packaged. So we started thinking about it and thought, the clamshells, they nest. So you can, in one medium-sized box, you can get 400 clamshells. And in a plastic tote, you can get 200 pots. And all that. So, like, in the back seat of the truck, if they weren't packaged, you could put all 400 pots. So we intentionally waited to package them until we got to NWTF, but we had so much fun on Tuesday.
Forgot about it.
Well, and Russ and Aaron didn't get there until end of the day on Wednesday when we were already set up. So it was like, okay, so Thursday morning, and then Thursday morning it rained. and y'all had trouble getting in with traffic and everything. And so here we are, like cousins, saying the Pledge of Allegiance and praying for the NWTF, and we've got fox pots all over the floor trying to.
Paul's coming over the mic. The doors will open in 5 minutes. We're like, hurry!
Yeah. Where are we going to put these things? We don't have any boxes. We don't.
I felt like a turd because some of the vendors were coming by our booth like, hey, can I buy this or
Trying
that?
to buy them.
Yeah, I'm like, at one point, I'm like, listen, guys.
Just hand it to him loose
Like,
here.
there's stuff all over the floor. Like, you can't even walk around.
Pick one out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So not only was that going on with buying them, in the midst of all of this, we had 3 or 4 people come by and like, hey, do y'all have those Ebonite Brute XLs?
Oh my God! And
So
That
at
was
the height
wild.
of clamshells everywhere, we have a 600 square foot booth.
Yeah.
And we had fox pots and elements
Corner
of
to corner.
fox pots from one end to the other.
It looked like a
People
bunch of-
stepping over each other.
Yep.
My kids standing at the cash registers, and I was having an absolute meltdown as people are going full on like, give me an XL.
while that was going on, it just felt like you could have took everything that everybody's working on and just threw it in a big ceiling fan, and everything just went everywhere.
It looked like a
it was
bunch of
just chaos.
kindergartners during arts and crafts on the
Yes.
floor. I mean, there was stuff.
Well, but being the
everywhere.
people coming by to buy the Ebonites were stepping over us and stepping
Yes.
over the pot calls.
Yes.
Walko goes, "You guys got any Ebonites
Yes.
sale?" We're like we're a touch busy, just a little bit. Just give us a minute.
We were 5 minutes out, and I was still kind of final touching on the call stand, and like Spence was like, "Hey, will you let this guy shop?" And I look, and there's a guy like had been standing behind me for a while, just eyeballing those Ebonites, and like he wasn't shopping, he wasn't looking. He said, "I need an
knows.
Ebonite."
He came in.
XL." Like,
He
I was
had
like,
been by
this
the
way.
booth twice. He was buying it for somebody else. He was a vendor. He was there as a
that's right.
Woodhaven pro staffer, and his buddy from back home had asked him to get one, and he was afraid they were going to sell out. And sure enough, like, I mean, I guess I knew they were going to sell out. Y'all knew they were going to sell out.
Yeah.
I had no idea it would be 7 minutes.
No.
How
I
about
mean,
that?
That was
At
ridiculous.
11:08, Riles comes up to me and goes, "We're out," and I was like, "We've been out for a minute." I mean, it's like, holy cow!
Yeah, I walked to the bathroom after the prayer, and by the time I got back, gone.
Yeah.
There was 15 people in line behind the last guy that bought the last XL.
Yeah, and I had promised one to a buddy of mine, a really close friend of mine, and I was on the apparel, like on the hoodie side of the booth, and I couldn't get to the cash register to grab one off the table fast enough.
Yeah.
That's the God's honest truth.
And that's
He
7
didn't get
minutes that they had to fight the crowd
Stepping
of
over us, stepping over
72,000
clam-
people to get back to our booth and to check out.
Yeah.
Like, that was a
And
death
had to
sprint.
go past.
Oh,
the,
it had
yeah.
to be.
They went past like the Fox Fest line. Like they went through a lot of people. Like,
Yeah. And the other highlight of all this to me is in the midst of all this, I don't know if y'all remember, but my buddy Rudy was there. He was first in line for the first Fox vest that got sold.
Yeah,
Crazy.
And he heard about it, okay? And he heard about it and bought a plane ticket from South Carolina, landed about 4 o'clock on Wednesday afternoon, went straight to the Opryland Hotel and got in line and got the security guard to tell him that he was first in line and stayed there in line until they closed the exhibit hall down to vendors. They kicked him out. Security kicked him out. He stayed in the front of the line all night long.
That's wild.
He texted me at 7:30 on Thursday morning and said, "Where you at, Bo?" And I was like, "I'm on my way there." And he was, when I got there, I said, "You all right? You sleep up here? Did you get any sleep?" And he was like, "Nope." He was like, "I'm tired." And I was like, "Well, did you didn't like lay down or anything?" He was like, "Hell no, Bo." He was like, "I stood up right here in front of these doors." He has this deep South Carolina low country accent. It was so great. And he was so dazed and confused. Like he'd been awake 38
drunk.
hours. He got in the truck I guess he caught a flight, back home, or I don't know if he did that or did a one way and drove back. He said he made a comment about having to drive home, and so I have no idea how he got back. But by gosh, he got the first one.
It's insane.
What's he doing around Thanksgiving next year?
Not duck hunting. I mean, he's clearly not. Yeah.
Was he the one that got that requested the number to match his Dixon vest?
So, he didn't actually request that,
Okay,
but that's a great story.
yeah,
Neil and Daniel were just kind of blown away by the response. And so they stayed there most of the night Thursday night, and then again most of the night on Friday night. And the first two people in line, they went up to them and asked them if they owned a Dixon vest. And Brett definitely owned one, and they knew that. He's a TFC thread member, and they had already talked about it, which makes it even cooler because he knew he was going to get a vest, but he said, by gosh, I'm going to get the first vest. And the primary reason that he really wanted in that first batch, he wasn't trying to be first. It just kind of happened. But the primary reason he wanted to be was because they had told everybody they're selling vests 200 through 400. And so I believe that his Dixon vest is 387. So he knew that his Dixon vest number was going to get sold. And his goal, if he didn't get there early enough to get to pick his number, he didn't know how that was going to work.
Yeah.
But he thought, he had it in his head, he would stand there and only have to talk to 200 people before he found his number.
That's insane.
And that was his plan. Wow. And I mean, you gotta like y'all slept in enough 4 a.m. boat race lines to appreciate the dedication.
Wow.
I mean, come on.
That's insane. That's awesome. That is awesome.
It is awesome, and it's. I'll stop talking because I'm just rattling on. But when you back up and think about it, it's such a cool tribute to not only a brand but to a man who did more for the wild turkey in the state of Mississippi than almost anybody we've ever met or known. I mean, he went, Mr. Fox had access to turkeys growing up in South Alabama at Choctaw Bluff. And when his job moved him to West Point, he still was driving back and forth to Choctaw Bluff. And he realized one day, if I'm going to be a family man and raise my family, Mr. Fox is going to have some turkeys up here close to the house.
Right.
And did something about it.
Yeah.
I mean, and so as wild as the line and the sleeping all night, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, what Mr. Fox did for those turkeys is as meaningful or more difficult or more dedicated than sleeping in line to buy a vest in his honor, So,
and I can, relate to that because, those turkeys that he brought over, across Mississippi, that's where my family's from. So, like, he did a lot for my family and people all over Mississippi and all over the South without even knowing it.
He changed your childhood and your history.
Absolutely.
I mean, you got to experience something with your dad and your extended family that had turkeys not been relocated, you wouldn't have.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And not only that, think about the culture of turkey hunting in Mississippi.
Oh, it's strong.
Yeah.
Well, and think about the ripple effect that had in. I mean, that was the beginning of the ripple that started the Mossy Oak brand. And just look at how Mossy Oaks as a brand. Look at how their fingerprints are all over your life and your life and your life and my life. I mean, it's kind of like we said about those pots. These are not 75 years in the making, but there's 75 years or more influence that go into these pots. I mean, we're all, like Toxie says, standing on the shoulders of giants, and that's dang sure one of those giants. So
it's pretty cool that we got to make the pot call for. I mean, that was awesome.
That's a privilege.
Pretty high honor. You're right.
It felt like such a just a small ask early on, but during NWTF and as people were coming up and buying not one but 2 or 3 or 4, we were just like, oh.
Well, not only that, but people that didn't even have the vest.
Right.
We're getting them. Mm-hmm. And there's people that still don't have the vest that are getting them. And so, it's just kind of
people bought them that didn't get there in time to get either night,
right,
and that are planning to come to West Point.
To get one
weekend,
there,
And a bunch of people bought them that probably won't ever get one of the numbered vests or won't ever have that vest. I mean, just because they wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah.
It's definitely an honor and privilege to, that we were able to put our hands on it. And when y'all first started working on them, I was in Pennsylvania, and Spence was sending pictures, and I was like, please save a few. Like, I want to be a part of this. I want to touch this so bad. He's like, no worries. We definitely need help.
Yeah. There'll be
plenty
of glue
when you get back.
Yeah. That's actually where Aaron is right now, is trying to fetch more glue. We've bought Amazon out of glue, and we've
we had
all the local
pot
hardware
gluing
stores
party
out.
while you were in Pennsylvania in here.
Yeah.
Blaring music.
These
Lost
guys
brain
were
cells
wild.
and
It was
everything.
fun. It was a good time.
But, man, that Fox vest, coming out at NWTF, I mean, I really think that's why there was such a high demand and how many folks were there, and that really elevated NWTF this year to make it what it was.
That I worried Saturday going in. I was like, man, they're not selling the Fox vest today. And like me and Drake were walking in and was like, see a bunch of people. Drake, negative instantly. See a bunch of people walking out. And I'm just like, man. And I thinking back on it now, I don't know why I thought Saturday was going to be less of a crowd than
and
the
it was
other week, but
so
Saturday
much
was
bigger.
I just kept after Thursday and after Friday. I'm like, I can't imagine how busy it's going to be on Saturday.
Have y'all heard the rumor that we're launching the motorcycle grip BSODs at next NWTF? Is this just? This,
I didn't know if you were going to do it.
Is this,
but
this
here
is
we are.
it's just
Here
a
we are.
joke. It's a joke. We're just kidding. We're just kidding.
Yeah, we got big
That's
shoes
the
to fill.
closest that we can do
We
to
got
try
big
to.
shoes to fill next to
That's the closest we
NWTF.
can do to creating the Fox
Right.
Fest pandemonium.
Yeah, we got to break 70,000.
All right, we've got a line of 14 people here.
I think Gus
live
Laws.
streaming on Instagram.
I think Gus Laws just booked his plane ticket from California to Nashville.
Yeah, there was a few plane tickets just booked.
Tell you what Spence said. Oh, you just
All
broke,
right,
you
so
just broke so
back
many
to-
hearts. Just
back to serious conversation.
Be there early.
Let's go around the table. And
somebody just texted me and said they're in line.
let's go around the table and talk about what were your two favorite products that you saw, or items. You know what I mean? Clothing, items, whatever. You want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. Obviously, the Ebonite XL. That was overwhelming. That was so cool. And one that y'all wouldn't expect, the Janus. Me picking the Janus. I'm not a turkey guy, but I've been blowing a Janus. I really like that thing. That thing's mean. And then we're just pretty much here's our new call. And people the first day would buy it just because it was our new call. Well, I would see the same faces, and they'd be like, "Oh my God, the Janus!" And I had a guy text me yesterday and said, "Man, the Janus is unbelievable." Yeah, it's awesome. So Ebonite XL and Janus.
Okay,
for me.
that's a great answer. Before you two answer, and before I answer, I just want to clarify and say I was really talking about other brands, like the whole show.
Well, I thought you were too. I was like, oh, I got to think of another
I know,
answer.
and I was like, man, old Riles just drank the Kool-Aid over here. Of everything you saw in NWTF, one of the two
Riley
coolest
never left
products.
the booth. He was
Riley's
at our
like
booth
the
the whole
Ebonite
time.
XL and the Janus. Yeah, hell yeah, give this guy a raise.
They were hot. They were hot.
That's awesome.
I was just thinking about the few minutes that you got to
Companions
walk
and stuff.
around.
the
Like, what
companions.
were
Well,
the
if I went anywhere, it was obviously like Mossy Oak or Companions. Something. I
Yeah.
spent a lot of money at Companions. They did a phenomenal job. That was awesome. Had
Is
to
there a
fight through the
particular Companions item that you liked,
probably
especially more? Or
that Henley long sleeve is just that casual. I love it. Or the button up with the turkey that they done with the turkey sewn on the shoulder. That one's a really, really awesome piece. Really, all of them though, top to bottom. I mean, the barn coat jacket.
I'm a big fan of the pants.
really,
Dude's wearing the pants right now.
I've worn them so many times.
I've got them in my cart
They're so
online, and
comfortable.
I have not gone
They're
through.
so comfortable. Trip and I were standing in line, and I just had one of the button downs in this hat, and I saw them pants. I picked it up. I was like, yep, these are coming home with me.
Very cool.
They're so comfortable.
Right on. Yeah.
All right, what were your two favorite products at the show?
I'll jump on Riley's bandwagon. One of them was the Half Moons. I was pleasantly surprised that they sold as well as they did.
And they did. They sold out.
Yeah. And between that and doing dealer orders, every single dealer order's got the Half Moons on them. And I wasn't too sure about them when I first seen them because obviously they've never been done before.
Right.
But I like them.
Yeah.
That was
I
a
really
fun
do like
conversation to have with people in the booth. They were like, I've never seen this before. I'm like, yep, because it's never
No one's
existed
seen it
before.
It's so
This
cool.
is unique and new.
It is cool.
There you go. Buy both of them.
It is cool.
Another product was the grounded vest. They came out with one in Greenleaf. I'm a big fan of the grounded vest.
Really? I'll be
had I
honest,
not-
I don't know much. I'm familiar with that brand, but I don't know much about that vest or the guys behind that brand. Tell us about it.
So one of the owners, or I guess the owner, was a part of Foot on the Head calls, and then jumped over and started grounded. And his dad is a veterinarian out of Huntsville, the Abels. And I met Greg at NWTF last year, and just kind of stayed in touch with him. And he was in Nashville one time when I was working at Tetra, and brought one of the vests by, and I wore it. I didn't wear it hunting, but I wore it, and it's a big vest.
Mm-hmm.
It can carry a lot of stuff. It's got a lot of really big pockets, but it still carries. It does not feel like a big vest. And they had a lot of traffic at their booth. I talked to them in Birmingham when I came down and saw y'all, and they just came out with one in Greenleaf. I got mad at Greg because I told him that he needed to text me if they were going to come out with Greenleaf, and he didn't. And I bought that other Mossy Oak one back in December or whatever it was off of eBay, and I looked at that and I was like, how many turkey vests does one person need? You know, but I didn't.
It's not an appropriate question for a man to be asking, because he might have to honestly answer that if his wife asked him. I mean, it's better to not know.
That's another reason why I didn't buy it. I was like, Mary Kate would kill me if I came home with another turkey vest. But
My dad told me one time, he was like, it's real important that you don't know how much duck hunting costs. I was like, why? And he was like, because if you get in a fight with your wife and she's like, how much did you spend on duck hunting?
Yeah.
You need to be a plausible deniability. You need to be able to say, I don't know.
my dad
But if you know
told me,
to the penny and then you lie about it, that's lying.
my dad told me, I know he didn't
Pro
come
tip.
up with this, but my dad told me when I was a kid, he was like, my biggest fear is that if I die, your mom's going to sell all my hunting and fishing stuff for what I told her I paid for it. But, it's a really, really nice vest. The cushion on it is real thick, real comfortable. It's got a very, very strong magnet to hold it in there too. You'll like this. It's got not one, not two, but 3 cup holders big enough to hold a coffee thermos.
Oh,
Why would I like this?
I mean,
I don't need a cup holder. I have one in my left hand and one in my right hand.
Well, you got to carry a gun.
That's what a shoulder strap
Yeah,
thing's
okay,
for.
you're right.
I thought he was going to strut for a second and say, "Why do I need extra coffee? I get it done, within an hour. I'm back at the house." But he didn't. So
I would not say that. I'm not Superman. I'm not invincible. I carry 2 thermoses. Got to be prepared.
I think my other one is not a product, but Mary Kate came to the show on Saturday afternoon, and we went walking around, and we were walking down the big main aisle, and I wasn't really paying attention to what was around us, but she grabbed my arm like a vice and goes, "Is that the guy from the TK and Mike videos?" And I look, Eddie Salter's standing there. And she was like, "Oh my gosh, we have to take a picture." And she was wearing a TK and Mike shirt. She's like, "We have to take a picture with
awesome.
him." And so I think seeing her freak out about that was really, really cool.
it's cool,
But
super cool.
Triple,
right.
your turn.
Man.
I like all that.
I mean,
Let's don't do any more moments. We'll do that next.
Okay.
So 2 products.
definitely number one is the companions. I mean, I think I tried all of it on and bought
did.
way too much of it, but it's super cool, right?
Yeah,
I mean, they brought companions back. That's awesome. But the second thing is the quality of it. It's super comfortable. It fits great. And then the third thing is it's priced like unreal. Like it's anybody can get their hands on it.
Yeah.
You know? So I really like that. And then my next thing would be something that Mo Marsh has got going on. Bo Brooks came and grabbed me. He was like, "Man, I got to show you something." I'm like, "What's up?" And I'd been hearing about it, but I didn't know if it was going to be confirmed. And sure enough, we got over there, and they got Mo Marsh in Bottomland and Dog Vest in Bottomland now. So,
What?
yeah.
What?
Gun cases and
Stoked about that because, I mean, I do love their products, but it's always in some kind of weird looking camouflage pattern, kind of robotic. So I never could use it.
I guess it's my turn, huh?
yeah.
So 2 products, and since I'm in charge, I'm going to do 3 products. Product number 1 that I was super impressed with was I held the Benelli M2 20 gauge for the first time. And I know there was some scuttle online about how the forearm on it has changed and it's like it's got some grip and some
finger
rib to
grooves,
it. Yeah. Dude, let me tell you what, that son of a gun fits like a glove. Holy smokes, that's a fine shooting and feeling and shouldering gun. Like, I cannot wait to get one.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I've always really liked the M2, and I didn't know what all exactly they were doing to it because it's just kind of hush-hush, and like you haven't been able to order an M2, for almost a year. So every everybody that would ask for one, I mean, we just have to say, you know, that the SB3 is kind of where they're going with everything. Well, and that was sort of what they kind of led us all to believe from a marketing and dealer standpoint. And then they launched this new M2, and it's like, yeah. So I would say if you're a turkey hunter and you like to shoot a red dot, which I don't, but if you're a red dot guy, you need an M2 because the receiver is a solid piece as opposed to the SB3, which the receiver is 2 pieces. And so the 2-piece receiver, that top piece, while it's secure and not going to move, it's a lot thinner than the 1-piece on the M2. And so you can tap that piece, that floating piece on the SB3 for a red dot, but you'd be better off to tap an M2 for a turkey setup. But so that's my first, as I would say. I'm not saying that's the one I was the most impressed of the whole show. That's just one of my 3 items would be the Benelli M2.
In no apparent order.
And I said it in that order because y'all already stole my other ones. But I would say, number 2 and number 3, and they're neck and neck. One, the Fox vest. And like you said, Tripp, it is cool. But I'm just going to tell y'all, that's about the finest, most well-designed, most functional turkey hunting vest I've ever seen, ever put my hands on. I'm talking about metal buckles where the shoulder straps connect. And
it's definitely the most well-built one for sure.
No doubt.
I mean, and I'm a sucker for a good seat. I mean, it drives me nuts. All these, the cheap vests in the past that have been on the market that, I mean, it's got a little thin piece of, it's like a pillowcase, exactly. And it's like a courtesy. It's like, oh, here's something cute for you to sit on. Like, that's not actually for sitting on. That's a
showpiece. The vest is supposed to have something to sit on.
Yeah,
so here's some fabric. Yeah,
exactly. It's like fake chrome versus chrome. It's like that's not actually chrome. That's just plastic. It's got a slick metallic finish over it. But I've always loved that about the Dixon. And prior to owning a Dixon, I always wore just the old Mossy Oak Elite vest, and I carried one of those boat cushion flotation devices in the back of my vest.
Yep.
I mean, so I carried 2 cushions around for eons, and I've always loved that about the Dixon vest. It's got a significant seat that is built for somebody who's slightly overweight like me to sit on the ground and it not hurt their butt for a good solid hour. Because if you're not sitting sometimes during turkey season enough for your butt to go numb, you're doing it wrong. Turkey hunting's about patience. And I love to run and gun. I like for it to be fast and action-packed and them to steamroll you. But if you don't slow down every now and then and just sit and enjoy the woods and wait on one to get fired up, like you really probably about the wrong things.
Yeah.
So I love the Fox vest. I love the thoughtful design in it. I like the premium elements that they put into it. It is not just an overseas built cheap piece of crap. Like it is a really high quality. It's not just a showpiece. I mean, you need to hunt that son of a gun.
Oh yeah.
That's the thing too. It's like, man, you buy one and it's like, maybe I should buy 2 because one I want to look at, but the other one
and you're not gonna get to buy 2. They're not letting anybody do that.
That's the thing. It's like it's a jam up vest. I mean, it's.
Yeah, you want it to be a showpiece for the history.
You want one to stay pretty to put in your man cave, but you're also like, man, I want to take this in the woods.
I'm just telling you, that thing's durable. It's built well. There's not corners cut. I mean, honestly, it reminds me of the Shin Gear waders. Like it's premium. It's well thought out. All right, so if that's my second product. My third product is, like you guys said, the Companions line, I would just say, in a similar fashion to the quality of the construction of the vest, the Companions line is a premium level that I didn't expect, to be honest. It surprised me. Not that I doubted Mossy Oak at all, but I didn't, I don't know the exact weight of the material, but if a regular hoodie is 8 ounces, an 8-ounce fabric, when you hold a 10-ounce fabric, you're like, that's a little more substantial. Yeah. And then when you hold a 12-ounce fabric, you're like, holy cow, that's a parka. You know what I mean? Like the difference between 8, 10, and 12. So and and it's not just weight, but you can feel that in the construction, the quality of it. And so, like when you pick up one of the Companions hoodies, it doesn't feel like it should be on a plastic hanger. It feels like it should be on a solid wood hanger. It is a substantial garment.
Yeah.
And the pants were that way. I felt them. I didn't get to try them on, but they're like the stitching is tight.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like
Quality.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you walk in Tractor Supply and you pick up a Carhartt pair of breeches versus their Blue Ridge Mountain $14.99 pair. Like, you can tell this Carhartt pair is going to last your whole life.
Right.
And probably if it gets a hole in it, it's because you cut it with a razor knife, not because you just wore it through.
Seam.
But and all of the Companions items, the barn coat. I loved the barn coat, by the way. Yeah, barn coat
That was the last
incredible.
thing I got. It was the only reason I got it was just because I couldn't not have it. I'd already spent way too much
Looked
money.
at it for 2 days.
Drake drugged me back over there. Drake was like, "I gotta get Lauren a hoodie." So
It's so
okay, I'll go with you.
It's
And
so
then
fine.
Walked away with the
barn
barn
coat is
coat.
unparalleled. But the button ups are that way, and those chamois button ups, dude. That is a part of my childhood. I know that y'all thought you were laughing at me.
I thought you were too.
I was like, you little twerp. I was about to just come top rope. I was like, man, right by the time my childhood.
No, I'm
Bronchitis flowing through the
I was
shop.
just going through the shop and trying to hold in a cough for an hour. Here it is.
Everybody's still hanging on to the trade show funk. I'm the only one here who's not got the trade show funk. I must be immune to.
Yeah, but Saturday morning we was like, oh Lord, thought we weren't.
Oh yeah, that's another story. Thought I was dead.
There's one item that we forgot
the
to
trade
mention.
show bug was the least
Hold
of
on,
your worries.
I was still going on about how great the barn coat
That's
was.
what he was trying to do. He was trying to get you to stop talking so he could talk.
But the chamois shirts, y'all, like when I was a kid and the internet didn't exist, on the back of the Cabela's magazine were these chamois heavyweight, like felt feeling shirts. And they had two grids. One was little squares of the colors, and then the other were like a dog or a turkey or a mallard duck or a elk head or a whitetail. Like, I thought that was the coolest thing going, and I had a couple of those. I had one that was like a cranberry color with a black lab on it. Like, I mean, these were Christmas presents that I died for, in middle school kind of thing. And I just thought that was so cool. Like, that forest green or hunter green color with the not strutting gobbler. I'm just a sucker for a gobbler that's standing there, upright. I just think that's so fine.
Yep.
Bennett got one too. I wanted one so bad.
Yeah, I got one of those. Rob told me, he was like, "Man, you should probably go to that rack over there and get one of the ones with the turkeys on it." There ain't just a whole
doors
lot
opened
of
at
those.
11, and by noon you had one on,
And
you were wearing it.
I didn't get one of those at the show, but I unwrapped one Friday for my birthday. Or not Friday, Monday night.
Awesome.
There you go.
So that was my birthday present from the fam. So so lots of love from me to the Benelli crew and the Mossy Oak crew. Man, they both of them knocked it out of the park.
Mm-hmm.
So
No doubt.
You talked about the Fox vest kind of being like Shin. That I kind of doinked mine off the
too.
rip.
That's
I was
what I was
talking
gonna
about
say. We forgot about
the Janus and the Ebonite, but man, the one booth that I did go to a lot other than ours was Shin, just because buddies of ours and stuff, and their tree stand it looks awesome. They knocked it out of the park.
the tree stand waders look great. I'm going to get the name of it wrong, but the the new jacket, the Primaloft jacket that we've all been wearing.
Yes.
That's like, it feels like something that NASA would invent.
Yeah.
Because it's like warmer than the over and under and more breathable, and it blocks the wind.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how they
the
did that, but
centerpiece of
It's nice.
Yeah, I feel like you're wearing a 60 series, but it warms you up. Like,
Yeah, and Jeff
All
was
that
talking
stuff.
about like it's one of those like you walk into camp and don't really realize you have it on. And I
Yep.
said that all year, like
Yep.
you can wear this thing in 50 or 30 or
Yeah.
colder. Like I was wearing it whenever me and Drake were hunting the last
Yep.
week of season. And
the other
single
two
digits.
products that haven't gotten any love, kind of just because it's not that seasonality. But dude, they're uninsulated shell weight bibs.
Oh yeah,
Are you kidding me?
yeah.
Those are going to be unbelievable.
About September, that's all you seen on Facebook was everybody was just dying to hear about the bibs, about the bibs.
Yeah.
and then the other one is the hoodie. That is fully waterproof, and can't remember what he called
Sherpa fleece quarter zip.
Is it Sherpa? It's so well designed. I wore that a bunch this year. It's tight, like not tight like muscle shirt kind of tight fitting, but it's just it fits like the waders. Like you just don't have a whole bunch of
athletic fit that they have on everything.
But not so athletic that a guy built like me.
It's not like the old Under Armour stuff.
Yeah. No, it's not form fitting, but it's just I'm telling you, I felt the exact same way as I did the first time I wore the waders. Like, I've been carrying around extra material in all my waders before. I don't feel like these are skinny jeans. It's just like I feel like they fit for the first time. And that's the way that hoodie fits, is it just fits. And it was windproof and it was waterproof, and I found myself hunting in that hoodie, getting back to the truck, taking it off, and putting on the Primaloft jacket, just because that Primaloft jacket is just begging for a nap in it.
Yeah. I fell asleep in it a lot. I fell asleep, woke up sweating just in the Primaloft and the wader pants all the time.
It's crazy how they just continue to just bring out hammers. I mean, everything they come out with seems like, it's like, man, I got to have that.
Yeah.
And
proud of those guys, really, all of them. And they were a blast to hang out with. And, in the grand scheme of things, when you look back at the 50th anniversary of the NWTF, I mean,
barn burner.
Yeah. Not only was it a giant crowd, but there were some behemoth brands dropping some freaking incredible stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
From top to bottom. So
it's going to be tough to top next year.
Yeah.
Hell, it's going to be tough to meet that level next year from everybody.
There'll be 72,000 people that line up for the motorcycle.
Come on.
I
was about to say until we do something.
No, trade show season is back. But I love getting to go to trade shows. I mean, yes, you come back wore out, and before you go, it's stressful getting everything together. But man, getting to see everybody that you haven't seen since before duck season was in, and guys you had no clue were going to be showing up. They show up,
and folks you haven't seen since the last NWTF.
That's right.
Old trade show trip. He was definitely thriving. In rare form, and I mean, it wasn't that stressful. You talk about stressful before we leave. We loaded up and got on the road. It was pretty low stress relative to prior trade shows. I mean,
it was very, very well executed.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
between loading the trailer, getting there, dropping everything, everybody.
Let's don't forget.
Wednesday,
let's don't just blow by. We're making progress here. Okay,
listen,
the arc felt like an afterthought, and it's usually the arc felt like an afterthought. Like it's typically like the main ordeal that we have to fight with. But that was
we opened the trailer and nothing was toppled over, nothing was broken. Like that's
strapped
a big
to the walls.
Deal.
Yeah,
that's a big deal.
Yeah. All the pallets already had pallet jacks on it. You just had to lift it and take it out.
All right, so before we move off of NWTF, we've done products. Give me your favorite moment or thing that happened, or just, it could be, you and Mary Kate going, put her there, Eddie. Hopefully that's what you made Mary Kate do after she
I didn't make her.
It. Oh.
As soon as she got to the front of the line, she go, give me 5, Eddie. I was like, that is my feeling. I'm marrying that woman. Yeah. I love that woman.
She's a keeper.
I didn't have to tell her. She knew exactly what to do.
All right, anybody?
Man, I'm going to have to think on it for a second because it was all just.
If y'all are still thinking, I know exactly where mine is, and I'll go.
Okay. I
was hoping to be last, but it's okay. I'll go first because Bible says first shall be last, and last. Man, the coolest moment for me, there were tons and tons of them, but the coolest moment for me at NWTF, I think this year was, I'm trying to think of the best way to say this and not come across arrogant, because I really don't mean this arrogantly, but this was the 9th booth that we've set up, okay, that this company has set up. 2014 was the first. And every year you get invited to a party from other brands, and it's almost every night there's something. Yeti does something one night, and this year Mossy Oak and Onyx and Yeti did a deal at the music room, and there's just evening time events, right? Yeah. And I've always thought to myself, I wanted to do something like that. Like I want to host something like that. And there's kind of been a two-edged sword. One is like, do we really need to spend the money on that? Because it's not like we got extra money just coming out of our ears. But then the other side of it is sort of like, man, are people going to come to that? Or, and it is outrageous to rent a bar and especially like on Broadway, all this. Well, anyways, it all fell into place, and we rented the scoreboard across the street from the Opryland Hotel. We had 80 wristbands, and basically the 80 wristbands was just for a bar bill, right? Just for the tab. And once we reached a certain dollar amount, they were going to cut the tab off regardless of how many wristbands. Well, I handed those wristbands to old business development director over there. They were evaporated like the dew on a hot day.
I think 30 seconds after you gave them to me, I was like, hey, I need more.
So we sent somebody over to the bar to get another batch. Yeah,
you went and got 80 more.
Yeah. So we handed out 160 wristbands. By the time it was all done, and what I'm building up here is there were a couple hundred people that showed up to the Rolling Thunder party. And we didn't have any signage. We didn't have any banners. It was just awesome people, our friends. But there were the moment there's two moments in that I'm building up to here that I thought was super cool. There were a bunch of people at that party that I had never met before, didn't know their name, and
didn't have wristbands.
Didn't have wristbands. The reason that I'm drawing attention to this and saying it's cool is because it validated to me that our brand has grown bigger than any one of us individually, me or y'all, because what it said, that these people that were there drinking our beer, which is fine. But what it said to me is that somebody that they knows somebody that was connected to one of us, and they felt comfortable enough about our brand to invite that person and not feel like they had to ask. And so it just kind of like, it really, one of the things that's always mattered to me is that we're inclusive, not exclusive, as a brand, that we're welcoming. And I felt that in our booth the entire time. I felt like that was where people wanted to hang out. That was the comments that we got, was like, man, y'all's booth was the coolest spot to hang out. And I'm sitting there thinking, we weren't trying to make a hangout. Like, we were trying to get you to spend your money. Like we were trying to pay our bills, But it really illustrated that to me when there's people at this party that I'd never seen before. It was not like my little group of friends. It was like people from all walks of life. Some who were industry employees, and some who were just people that knew somebody that duck hunted with you, or so like that felt so awesome. All right, so then part B of that, because this is a 1A, 1B, the Fox vest, the number 5 vest sold for $31,000.
Insane, y'all.
Which is just ignorant, insane. But I thought it was super cool that Daniel and Austin Stapleton and Jared Larson from Onyx and Michael Hunter and a whole pile of, the inner circle of Mossy Oak came to our party afterwards. And somehow our party turned into a celebration of the Fox Fest. Yep. And it was like, I had this momentary thought. I was like, are we celebrating the Fox Fest, or is this like a Mossy Oak? A Rolling Thunder, we're celebrating the NWTF. And I was like, it don't matter. Like, we're just celebrating. Yeah. And so, like, on so many levels, that was very satisfying to see people interact with our brand that didn't know any one of us particular, wasn't family, these are just legit customers who feel like our brand is accessible to them, and it is, because that's what we've been going for, and that's awesome. That felt like a real stamp of approval. And then, to have Daniel and his wife and Austin and and down the list celebrating the Fox Vest with us and celebrating us at the same time, man, that was it was was almost like Santa Claus came to, Christmas Day dinner.
That was cool. Man, my favorite part about the whole show is just like at the end of each day, around 3:30, 4 o'clock, it just seems like our booth just gets bigger, and it's all our friends, and again, the same thing you're saying at our party, it's everybody's friends, and even guys we just met that day, or just friends of the brand. Like our booth just seems like the spot where everybody comes and hangs out and wraps up the day, or talks about duck season, or talks about turkey season, and I don't know. It just seemed like I had a moment all 3 days that I just look at that, and it's like some of these guys that are standing at our booth talking to me, talking to us. It's like these are guys I've looked up to for a long time. Like in high school, watching Daybreak, like.
Well, not only that, but we
Kelly
can
Powers,
all put ourselves
hung out for an hour. I mean, it was not just customers or people like you're talking about. I mean, it was. We've got some awesome industry friends.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
Well, it was folks that the three of us, can relate to, in the fact that we were them not too long ago.
Yeah.
We were the people that were going to people's booths to hang out because we didn't work in the industry, but we just wanted to hang out with folks,
Shoot, that's me too, y'all.
Okay,
I mean, let's be honest. The first 3 NWTFs I went to, I was just, piddling with those motorcycle grips in my garage and dreaming that one day I might be able to rent a 10x10 booth. So, I mean, we're all in that boat, man. We put our pants on the same way, and I mean, we're all just an older version of the kid that looked up to somebody. Yeah. And so anyways.
But I just think it's so special that, again, just that people feel like they can be comfortable around us and be a part of our brand, and that's why we built this building, so people could come hang out. Like,
That's exactly right.
I hope that never changes.
Me too.
I hope we meet somebody new every trade show, and somebody just comes walking through the doors at the shop. It's new, it's just, it's fun.
Yeah. That's a mark of I hope I can get away with saying this, since I'm the owner of this business, but that's a mark of a monster brand when customers feel like they own the brand as much as the actual owner.
Yeah.
And I saw people for the first time in my 13 years acting that way. Like, there's the Rolling Thunder booth. That's my jam. That's my brand. You know what I mean? Like, they bought in. And I'm with you. That's special.
Yeah. I thought it was really cool. Just a few different scenarios throughout the whole trip and show that I kind of pieced together was just a lot of different people that I know personally don't own a call of any sort, turkey, duck, just because whether they know me that I'm working there, or we had the Fox Pot calls, or, the XLs, the buzz about the XL, everybody hearing about the XL. Like, they came over there to check it out and walked away with something, or, 1 or 2 things, like, or, would give us really good feedback and tell us, that they're proud of us and keep doing our thing, because they couldn't necessarily buy one of our calls because maybe they own another company. But, they were in our booth blowing one of our calls, telling us, that's
good
really,
job.
Yeah, good job. And that to me was really cool, just seeing that and seeing the following, and just the growth. It's awesome.
Amazing how, last year felt big, but this year, it genuinely, I know we're just beating a dead horse here, but I felt like we were a premier brand while we were there, and I didn't feel like the little garage band that I've often felt like we set up quick, we tore down quick. I felt like, this is that makes sense. I don't know.
Our booth was so busy, we're going to need new floor mats for the next show.
Yeah.
We wore the floor out.
They were perfectly fine on Wednesday, and come Sunday, we were standing there looking at them like, we're going to need some new floor mats.
Every piece of floor tile had wrinkled up.
Crazy.
Oh.
So excited for next year. I said that Monday once we got back in the meeting.
That's an awesome show. It really is.
Well, with the ending of NWTF, there's something to look forward to. It's not far away. You've already experienced it.
I was fixing to say the 3 of us are looking forward to it. Somebody over there has already looked at it.
I've seen a live one. I've seen the dead one. I've seen them. boy one. I've seen a girl one. I've
You've seen one missing
with
a
fan.
tail?
I've seen one without a fan.
Man, I'm pumped up for turkey season. I'm ready to get back to the home state. And I actually found out I was already planning on going back to Florida and taking Bennett and Drake to the farm and trying to knock their first ones out. Bennett got to see it last year, and it's pretty much a zoo. So
It is a zoo.
couldn't think of a better place to take them. I'm excited about that. But I found out yesterday I caught an invite to go chase one of them strange looking turkeys with the black wings and black tips, and one of them Osceola turkeys.
Real mean
I've heard
ones,
of
huh?
them.
So I may be going a little bit early, and I'm jacked up about that too. So
Good for you. Does that mean you won't be at Paducah Shooter Supply with me on March
probably-
18th?
probably not. Probably.
Old Dad's got that in-store promotion. All right, I'll take care of it.
Well, we can let this trip dream about shooting a black-winged turkey. Tell us about your trip that actually shot a black-winged turkey.
Pretty cool, man. We got drawn for a pretty highly coveted management area in southern half of Florida, and took the boys. I guess we got back from we drove home from NWTF on Sunday, got home about 3 o'clock. I went to bed about 3:45. Slept until about 5 a.m. the next morning. We unloaded the trailer, worked Monday afternoon, worked Tuesday morning, and left with Girk about 8 o'clock, 7:30 Tuesday night, drove to Keelan's house, got up Wednesday morning, drove 13 hours from Keelan's house through Disney traffic and I love the beaches in Florida. I hate the pavement in Florida. There's not one place that has a road in Florida that I'm like, oh, that's a nice road. God, it's worse than Arkansas.
God, now Trip's gonna get mad.
that's a big ticket.
I'm
Is
not
it
talking
really?
about potholes, traffic.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, time out.
I thought you were talking about quality. I was like, Arkansas.
Well, yeah,
Y'all have premier asphalt in Florida because nobody goes 40 miles an hour. It's standstill traffic everywhere. I could have walked or rode a horse from Keelan's house faster than we drove down there in a 3/4 ton pickup truck. It was horrible. It's that way when you go to the beach. It's like, y'all want to go to dinner? Yep, we need to leave here at 1:30. I mean, like, gracious me.
he's not wrong.
No, he's not. I
Everybody
thought you were
listen to
talking about the
Grease.
quality of the road. I was like, dude,
He's spot
Arkansas
on.
pretty bad about quality of the road.
Arkansas.
I hate them. I mean, it's different reasons, but no, we drove down, and so we scouted Thursday, scouted Friday, and the scouting was cool. We were in turkeys the entire time. Friday morning, it was real foggy. Walked in with a thermos of coffee, take a long walk, and nothing gobbled on the roost, and we decided to split up and go separate ways. So Keelan and Weston went one direction, and me and Girk and Trip went another direction, and we didn't get 50 yards, and stopped and kind of were hanging out and was just going to like let things settle down, and a bird gobbled like 120 yards. I mean, just one of those that just paralyzes you. You're like, oh gosh, he's right there. And I'm in there. I'm in blue jeans and a t-shirt. Like we're not wearing hunting clothes. I'm walking on a road, like I'm
Reflex, like I gotta sit down.
And I did left and right, and I was like, guys, we got to hide in a hurry, And I'm with Girk, who has
A white ball cap on.
yeah, and a white or light tan Goose Gossip hoodie and a pair of khakis or something. Like anything even remotely dark colored on this boy.
Looks like a casually fit game warden.
I did not know where you were going with that comment.
Crocodile
Anyways,
Dundee.
it was very foggy, and so this bird had just not gobbled on the roost, and he had just happened to be coming through where we were. I'm talking about full tilt steamroller. So he's close enough when he gobbles that I'm like, guys, we have to hide right now. And I put my binoculars up, and I look down the road, and it was just foggy enough that like with the binoculars you could see 120 yards maybe, but without the binoculars you could see 80.
Yeah.
So I couldn't see it, without binoculars. But when I put the binoculars on, he's in full tilt, like half trot, coming down the road we're standing on, like mad, like coming to whoop a Jake decoy kind of thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, he's about to run us over. Y'all get down. We hit the deck and moved about 4 feet behind a big clump of Johnson grass, and they both look at me, Trip and Levi, no face masks, no, like, we're not wearing camo. And they go, where is he? Where's he coming from? And I'm like, he's going to be right there. And I pointed, and when I pointed, his red head was about 8 yards. Right there, he just stopped. He's just strolling down this road, and it's like, whoop, there's 3 humans right there. And he stood there, and he looked at us, and he looked this way, and he looked this way, and he looked this way. And I knew it was coming fast enough that I hit my, camera, to video my cell phone. I have 1 minute and 42 seconds of him standing there inside 10 yards.
Gosh.
And I'm like, do not breathe, turkey. Close your eyes. Do not look at this turkey, And he walks off. Like, he putts a couple times and just kind of eases off through some grass, goes about 50 yards and starts roaring. Oh, gosh. And just goes back to gobbling. Gobbles, 40 or 50 times. And just like, oh, gracious. And anyways, it then saw another one after that and heard him gobble. I mean, it was just constant action on Friday. And so we had really high hopes going into Saturday. Saturday, probably heard 9 or 10 different birds on the roost, which was just phenomenal. And I roosted Friday night. Didn't hear anything, didn't see anything. So I was a little not sure how close I was going to be. When I got in there super early, 3:45 on Saturday morning, had built a blind out of palm fronds and kind of had everything all set. Not in a fly down spot, but in a place that I felt like all the birds were coming to. A lot of tracks, a lot of sign to strut during the middle part of the morning. And I'll be dang if there wasn't a bird 250 in front of us and about 150 behind us, and both of them just hammering back and forth. And I was just like, get ready. Yep, I mean, they're going to fly to us. Yeah. This is the jungle. And both of them just evaporated and disappeared. Had a hen fly down, walk right through 15 yards. So it was it was an intense morning because you just thought at any point in time, at any moment, he's just going to show up. And but it got hot. We hunted till 11 o'clock. I made Trip walk 3.5 miles, trolling. And we chased a bird that was gobbling a long ways off and never interacted with him. He just gobbled on his own, and I guess we just never got close enough. He was rolling, but came back to the house and took a short nap, went back out about 2:30, 3 o'clock that afternoon, and it was 90 degrees, super hot. And I kind of, from where they had all gobbled that morning on the roost, I knew where a block of what they call a cypress dome is, and it's like a low spot that water tends to stand. It was all dried up, but it's just a lower spot, and so the cypress trees kind of grow in a circle around them, and turkeys down there love to roost on a cypress dome. It's dark, so during the middle part of the day they can stand there close to the roost tree. They feel safe. It's shaded, so it's not as hot, and then those cypress trees have good limbs on them to roost on. Yeah. So I'd seen that kind of in my scouting, and I'd heard 3 or 4 birds gobbling from what I consider to be one of these 2 cypress domes that was, 600-700 yards away. And there was a nice little clearing in front of it. And I told Trip, I said, I feel like if we'll just go hunker down, hang tight here, we'll get some action this afternoon. And Keelan kind of had the same plan. And so did Scott Rhodes. We all had a good idea of where they were roosted, and we weren't right underneath their roost tree. We were kind of in a transition zone, a couple 100 yards from the roost tree. And so we got in there, built a blind. It was so hot, bless his heart. Girk was sweating, Trip was sweating, and about 5:30, say it gets dark at 6:30, or sunset was 6:25, so fly up's about 6:15. About 5:30, Girk's got his hat off, no face mask on. Trip Halford's got his hat off, no face mask on, gun laying on the ground. And Trip's been yelping. I'm talking about wide open, purr, cluck, purr, cut, fly down cackle, tree yelp, like full Monty. The whole gamut, and I've kind of reached that point of just like, sure hunt, dog. Like, go ahead. Right now we're relying on sovereignty of a providentially kind God to send us a gobbler, not on my calling ability. And but he was having fun, and that's all that matters. So about 5:30, he had given up calling, and I could tell Girk was about giving up, and I heard the wind kind of died for just a moment, and I heard that boom, boom, and it was just clear as a bell, and I could not get everybody quiet and paying attention fast enough. Like both hands went out. Trip was on my left side, Girk was on my right side, and I was like, "Do not move." That is an unmistakable sound.
You have no idea where it's coming from.
Well, and I had given Girk the speech. I was like, they're probably not going to gobble this afternoon. We're going to have one just appear, and you're going to look up, and there's going to be a black strutter right here in our face. Like, be prepared for that the entire time. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No face mask, no hat. Real prepared for. But we had a good hide, and I mean it's all right. But no sooner did I hear it, and I kind of reached for both of them to be like, "Do not move. It's happening right now." And I cut my head at Girk because, with all due respect to Girk, I knew Trip was okay.
Yeah.
I'm looking over here at Girk, and Girk, I told him, I was like, if you see a turkey, just say, "I see a turkey." Don't point. Don't do anything.
Yep.
Just
don't move.
Whisper. Yeah. Yep. Just like, I cut my eyes right to Girk, and he's pumping his hand, going, "Strutter, strutter, strutter," like a woodpecker tapping on him. And I'm like, "Put your hands down. I see him. I hear him. I'm aware of what is happening." Like, he was so stoked. The video is hilarious. The first 15 seconds of the gobbler standing there, nothing is in focus. It's like you're looking through the shower, with a frosted window. I mean, it's just flat gray. And then you can tell that Girk's like, "Oh, I need to get that focus."
Yep. Oh, that's why I'm here.
I have a job.
He was hyperventilating, and bird comes in, goes into strut, and just comes straight into the decoy. Trip's gun's laying on the ground. The decoy's about, I don't know, 15, 18 yards. Bird gets to about 25, and he's coming straight to us. So any movement that we do, he's going to see through the decoy. And I'm like, "Son, get your hands on your gun. Get your hands on your gun. Like, you're going to have to get your gun up." And I said, the next time he tries to go in strut, you got to – he wouldn't stop in, like, full strut. He was kind of mad walking and puffed down. And I've taught him that if you're going to have to draw, you don't do it while he's walking.
Right.
You do it while he's either puffed up or half puffed up, because in order for him to go back to walking, he's got to come. Yeah, he's got to drop down. And so he slipped his hands over on his gun, and I said, he's on my blind side, so I couldn't see what he was doing very well. But I said, "Are you got your hands on your gun?" "Yes, sir. Yes, sir." And he's no face mask, no hat on at this point. Okay. And I'm like, there's no way this goes well. But he kind of went to, strut, and I said, "Get your gun up." And he just real smooth comes up like this. And when he does, the bird just head goes straight up in the air. And I was like, "That's probably it, son. You're going to have to kill him." And he took one step, and I heard click. Woo! Just laid the hammer down. And we went to celebrating.
That's awesome.
And it was super cool. And on a gazillion levels, it was cool. One, he feels like he yelped that turkey up.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, he did.
Yeah.
But there's so much enjoyment and satisfaction as a dad, in watching your kids, like, not only enjoy something, that's like a level of satisfaction, enjoyment of its own when they are actually having fun. But there's like a whole nother level of enjoyment when you watch them progress.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure sports parents feel this way, like when you see your kid get better at hitting a baseball or shooting a basketball or whatever. But like, I have watched my kid incrementally from totally inept at loading his gun and holding it to freehanding his gun where you don't have a vice or a little shooting stick or anything. He's got a adult M2 laying on the ground and goes and quick draws a strutter and just smokes him. And I mean, that is, I wish I could push pause and make these years last forever.
I was just fixing to say that had to be cool to watch him be able to pick that gun up and in one motion pull up and shoot
and he did that.
Because there's adults that can't do that.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, we've all done that.
Yeah.
And spooked a bird and missed him, all that kind of stuff. And he did a move similar to that last year in South Carolina at the Invitational that was pretty slick. Like a bird popped out, and he was about, I don't know, when he popped up, it was on this little terrace, and he was just 10, 15 feet from us. And he actually walked away from us. He came between us and the decoy, so he had to walk away from us to get to the decoy. Well, when he popped up, Tripp's gun was kind of pointed toward the decoy, and the bird was, not, so he had to swing, but he waited until the bird did right or got in a position where he could swing, and then he swung, and when he swung, the bird stuck his head up, and he wasn't pointed at it, and he waited until he relaxed 1 second, and just like he made adjustments on the fly.
Yeah.
And so last year I saw glimmers of that, and I was proud of him, but this was like next level.
Yeah.
I was not coaching him. I was not saying wait till he struts again. I mean, it was just like,
he knew what
are
to
your
do.
hands on your gun? Yes. Okay, you probably should kill him. It's
And
like,
now.
yeah, I mean, and it's so much fun. It's, I don't know.
awesome.
I'm proud dad.
Figuring it out. Just figuring it out.
And I mean, while we're on that topic, Keelan and Weston did the same thing, and Jane and Scott did the same thing. All three kids killed inside 30 minutes of each other. None of us were in the game Saturday morning. We all hunted till lunch, and then between 5:15 and 5:45, all three killed hammers. I mean, and it was a pretty strong celebration on Saturday night in South Florida.
That's what I asked Girk. I said, did you get any Oreos while you're down there? He said, no, Tripp didn't have any for me, and they're all stale. He had them from last turkey season. I was like, but I think it's so cool that, you toast to a bird with a shot of wild turkey. And I think it's so cool that Tripp takes Oreos to the woods.
Yeah.
That's how he celebrates.
Yeah. But Girk was telling me on y'all's drive back about him freaking out when the turkey showed up. He goes, I'm not ashamed of it. Like, I know Spence is going to give me a hard time about it. He's like, I don't care. That was awesome.
He hyperventilated.
Yeah.
I mean, and it, it's so fun and rewarding to see somebody
That's right.
have that feeling that we've all had.
Yes.
And I'm not going to say you ever grow out of it or get numb to it, but the more times that you see it, the more skilled you are at controlling how it affects you. But I vividly remember being in the presence of a gobbler strutting and inside gun range and being completely and totally paralyzed. Like I can't move my gun 3 inches. And I mean, Girk was
That.
full tilt paralysis. He went from Woody Woodpecker with his right hand telling me there was a strutter right there to complete and total, I'm not a functional human. Like, hit the record button. Girk, hit the focus
Red
the
button.
camera.
Red button.
That's my favorite thing about taking somebody, have it be turkey hunting or duck hunting, whatever. Just, we're so blessed to be able to see these things, it seems like over and over again. And you always want it to happen one more time. But when you get to take somebody to see it for the first time or still super new to it, it just reminds you of what it was like your first time, and reminds you like, man, this is cool. Like not many people get to see this as often as we do. Like this is cool.
Just like Spence said, like all of us have seen it enough times that, like, don't get me wrong, I still come unglued when I shoot one in the face. But like you said, I've learned to control it. I've learned to not be paralyzed when he shows up. But I love watching people fall in love with it because obviously the four of us are pretty, caught up in it and watching people fall in love and be in love with something that we've been in love with our entire lives is
it's just fun to see somebody experience something that means that much to you for the first time. I mean, like it it's, I hope that I can show that to my wife one day. I would love for Lindy to see the whole thing unfold, and there's tons of people in our life like that. But it is just really neat to see somebody experience it
Yeah.
and drink of it deep.
People watch you obsess over it for years, and then they do it. They're like, "Oh, I get it now."
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
I
yeah.
get it now.
Maybe you're not a psycho.
Yeah.
Yep. I went with Tripp last year, and he cracked me up because he was like, whenever we kill this first turkey, I'm probably going to freak out. Just don't judge me for it. We hadn't even killed the first turkey yet. The first turkey had gobbled, and he's on a slate call. And, like, I had to look over there and make sure he was okay because little Tripp was just making these noises. Like,
You're talking about trade show trip?
trade show trip.
my
No,
trip?
trade show trip in Florida last year.
Triple.
He was just sitting there up against that tree, and a gobbler had gobbled right at or as soon as he had a slate. And then he just started making out like this, like somebody squeezed the life out of him. He just couldn't move, like somebody was squeezing the life out of him. I was like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "Yeah."
It reminds me of that meme. It's probably what you're about to say. It's the guy, and he's got like he's clearly a drug addict, and he's like, do it one more time. He's standing there, he's like just barely clothed, and he's just frail, and he's like, it's like me at gobble time, 35 days. Like, do it one more time.
It's just, and that was the first gobble of the year that I heard that morning that Riley's talking about, and man, it's like that every year, and I hope it's like that to them. The coolest thing is Daniel and Neil and Mr. Toxie still taking Mr. Fox. Like I hope somebody loves me that much.
No
to
kidding.
take
That's
me
my
out.
new life goal.
Yeah.
I hope that there's somebody that still loves me that much when I'm that age to dedicate their spring to taking me out there.
It's incredible.
Well, like this morning, I went on that walkabout. The first one I heard gobble this morning, I smiled and pointed and started looking around. I'm like, "Oh, I'm by myself."
He's right there. He's right there.
A Snapchat video. You can't even see his face.
I hooted and pointed. And I'm like, "They can't see that."
Yeah, the Snapchat video was just instant arm. And I was like,
Oh, that's awesome.
What'd you call it this morning?
The walkabout.
No, the this time of year.
It's the most wonderful time of year.
Yeah.
Subjectively.
Yeah. You missed it, Tripp. You were at home still, but I had to
Still asleep.
had to clarify for Ollie, we don't use superlatives like that around here.
Man, it's hard because when it gets about, second week of October, I'm like, man, the most wonderful time of year. It's almost here. And then
Most wonderful time of year is the next one up.
And then the second week of February, it's like, yep, most wonderful time of year. It's like it just goes back to what you always say, man, if you had to choose, which one?
well, how Spence said it this morning was the best way I've ever heard it put. Mm-hmm. Why did the good Lord not make?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what he's
Explain
always
it for
said.
the people
Yeah.
listening.
Hey,
I did it this
yeah.
time last year on the
he
podcast.
told us this morning, which I thought I listened to the podcast. I don't remember hearing this
hadn't heard
before.
him say that
No,
before?
I'd
No.
never heard. So I was listening, and he said he was telling Squints. He said, "Why does the good Lord not make you choose, or why does the good Lord not allow turkeys to be gobbling while mallard ducks come through the trees in November, so you don't have to choose?"
Yeah, if he wanted us to choose, he'd put them in the same time of the year.
Yeah, there's no reason to choose.
So I'm okay with saying it's the most wonderful year.
That's right.
Because like Rob and I used to say, I love springtime when it's the beginning of springtime.
Yep.
Well, you know what? By the time, end of May rolls around, do I want to hear another one gobble? Yes. But do I really want to just go to the beach and take a vacation with my family and change gears into summertime? Yeah, I do. And when summer, like by end of August, I'm
Let's
like,
go to Canada.
you know what? Yeah.
I'm tired of sweating.
I'm
when I
ready
walk
to
out the
change
door.
gears.
Yeah.
And by the end of, and then winter rolls around, it's like, this is great. By the end of winter, I'm like, I'm ready for spring.
Yep.
So I just genuinely, I know I was giving you a hard time this morning because everybody has a favorite, right? But I don't, as a life kind of principle of life, I don't really like using superlatives. I don't like saying my most favorite food is a steak. Well, on steak days, ribeyes are awesome. But on chicken days,
But on Taco
so are
Tuesday,
thighs with the skin and bone on them.
Yeah.
Not like the good Lord gave us variety for a reason. And, food's different colors, it's different flavors, and we shouldn't have to pick.
I know I wear my parents out, growing up, and it's a little better now that I'm over here, so I don't have to worry about me. But it just seemed like, into duck season, it's like, finally, Tripp's going to be around the house for a little bit. Like, see y'all. Turkey season, you know, comes in. Then it's time to go bass fishing, or you know, Dad always was like, man, you just need a T-shirt that says just ready for the next one, because that's all it seems like you're ready for. So whatever's up next.
I've got a pretty good guess as to why the good Lord didn't make mallards come through the trees in April and May. It's because if the woods were flooded in April and May, there's snakes. So he didn't want us to have to fight snakes.
They are flooded in April and May.
Yeah,
That's
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Where are we talking about in Middleton, like in Nolensville? Or are we talking about in the White River?
Abandoned water.
They ain't keeping the water out.
No, that's what I'm saying is like when they're flooded in April and May, if you're in there duck
November.
hunting, you're going to have to bring rat shot for the snakes.
I do
worry about that.
And I know we've been kidding and all that, but you're about to get the barrage of the turkey purists who are going to say this is the greatest time of the year and blah, blah, blah. And it is a wonderful time of the year. I'm not diminishing that. But let's don't take God's good gift of enjoying springtime and enjoying the woods with our friends and use it as a big leverage bar to show everybody that you're a cooler turkey hunter than everybody else. Like, man, the Bible says that all good gifts come directly from the hand of the good Lord, and let's be thankful for them as we get them. Yep. And you know what? When turkey season's over, let's enjoy the beach in summertime and ride our duck boats around. And when that's over, let's enjoy Canada and Arkansas and go shoot ducks. And then when that's over, let's enjoy NWTF. I mean, like that's the beauty of life, is the cycle. You don't do anything ad nauseum. You don't do anything, you know, without end, other than you keep breathing, you know. But I mean, there's just variety's the spice of life, and so learn to enjoy the differences. And
well, about my last thing, you know, I guess would be last year, the 2022 turkey season. It just seemed like there was a lot of that. This, you're that, you know, just kind of seemed like an animosity thing going on, and
like forcing teams.
Yeah. And that's a great thing, because, you know, we saw a lot of guys standing up for what they believe in, and, you know, I'm on the same page with a lot of those guys. But I do hope that, you know, this season 2023, it's not as much about what I can do and how I can do it, and let's enjoy what God gave us.
Yeah, you're right. That is very well said, Trip. Maybe the wisest thing I've heard you say is, like, this is not a chest beating contest to show how big and bad you are or who you're better than. That's not what it was given to us for. It's not a measuring stick. And whether it's ducks on a log shot or a kill picture of a 200-inch deer, or, you know, how, you know, you can show the world that you're the coolest, most dedicated turkey hunter on public land and blah, blah, like, man, let's just stop. That's not what this is about. Yep. I can promise you, Mr. Fox did not move turkeys to West Point, Mississippi, so that he could show the world how much of a badass turkey yelper he was. Yeah. You know, I mean, he did that because, just like the back of this pot says, the good that men do will long live after they're gone.
That's right.
And, you know, the woods provide an opportunity for us to build relationships and friendships and to enjoy part of God's creation that we can't in another way. And they were not given to us as a device to create, you know, see who's the best. Yeah. So.
Yep.
It's going to be a good year. I'm excited for it.
I'm excited to watch the woods wake up.
Who's the first turkey virgin that's going to punch their card this spring?
Mayor Drake.
Over and under.
Bennett's going to a zoo. I mean,
I'm going to have to say Riley.
Last year we were sitting on a tree spinning around a tree like a dog on a chain with 8 gobblers coming around us. I mean, Bennett's going to my favorite place in the world to turkey hunt. So
my reasoning is between that and the invites that the both of us have received to Northeast Alabama.
Yep.
So the three of y'all are voting Riles.
I will vote Riles, yes.
Okay.
Right on.
Is Drake going with y'all when y'all go down there?
Hold on. We're just taking over and unders. Oh. I was not sure which direction I was going to go, but since y'all all three took Riles, I'll take Drake just because. So what's the wager here? Milkshake?
Sure. I'm about it. And here's the thing.
That's not good enough. Let's do quesadilla burger from jalapenos.
Jalapenos on Taco Tuesday.
On any day of the week, but I mean.
Yeah. Man, the best way that I have it drawn up in my head is there's going to be Bennett's going to go to Mr. Joe's farm And
the minute you do realize this is the total kiss of death, you're letting you're letting Trade Show Trip call his shot.
Call my
This is
decide
it.
my
It's
fate.
gonna be-
Yeah, knock on wood. Quick,
You're not
please.
going to shoot one for the next 5 years because you're letting him call you. I would stop him right now.
Yeah, please.
then it's going to have a fly down hunt.
Oh,
And-
gosh.
And by the time he can get
Ooh,
enough
Spence, how many
service-
fly down hunts have you had in your life?
can
Because I
you
can
hear-
count on one hand. Yeah.
This is the kiss of death right now. This
as soon as he gets enough service to call us, Drake's going to be throwing his fist in the air because he got his first two. Hopefully it happens like
it's
that.
going to be April the 25th, and Drake's going to be pouting, going, "Hey, balls, can you take me to shoot turkey?" All right, well, we need to wrap it up.
Yeah,
we
we've been here for an hour and a half.
got work to do.
Yeah. Well, appreciate y'all stopping by.
At NWTF and saying what's up and
Yeah, hey, thanks for the support.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Dude, our orders are just, I mean, we're going to have to order more boxes and more packing tape. And, I mean, you guys, the support we've received from the customers, I don't know what you would call them. You don't call them fans, do you? But
I call them
mean,
friends, but, you know.
It's unbelievable.
It's unreal.
I mean, it's been 9 consecutive days of shipping orders all day long, and we're running out of time.
Seriously.
I mean, Sarah cried yesterday.
oh no.
She made one promise to me when she came to work, and it was that she would never cry. And she had a big tear in her eye, and I saw her. She looked away, and she was trying to make it go away because she was like, "I can't get all the orders done." I was like, "It's okay." But anyways, we do really appreciate everybody that came by the booth. We appreciate everybody that supported our brand, past, present, future. Gosh, this is fun.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe we get paid to do this.
Yep.
So, you gonna wrap it up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Appreciate y'all stopping by and listening in. This has been another episode of the Rolling Thunder podcast.
We'll catch you on the next one.
Yes, sir.
NWTF next year. Be there early. Motorcycle.
I'm serious. Somebody texted me and said they're already in line.